And Moyes was part of a small group of loosely associated Anglican and Protestant clergy in the 1930s and 40s, mainly in New South Wales, which promoted the social gospel. And the social gospel in Australia emanated from the tradition of English Christian socialism, in which social, not merely personal regeneration was seen to be necessary for a complete Christian life. This placed great emphasis on building the kingdom of God on earth. And the social gospel viewed the dispensation of charity in the face of disadvantage as admirable, but palliative and insufficient. It demanded structural change in order to eliminate the causes of societal inequity. And this resulted in some of its proponents being labelled as left-wing, pink or red. And others associated with this group included the Anglican Bishop of Goulburn, later Canberra and Goulburn, that was Ernest Bergman, and the Anglican Primate of Australia and Archbishop of Perth, Henry Lefanu. And while Bergman was Warden of St John's College, Morpeth, from 1918 to 1934, its journal, the Morpeth Review, was a vehicle for social gospel thought. Moyes was the first senior clergyman in Australia to publicly challenge the second Menzies government's proposed law dealing with communism. 10 years earlier, in May 1940, he'd been a vocal critic of the first Menzies government concerning the banning of communist literature. In 1946, Moyes had been a leading voice in the establishment of the Australian Committee for the World Council of Churches. During a spat with the editor of the Sydney Morning Herald after the committee's conference in February 1950, Moyes argued that neither faith in communism, socialism nor capitalism was the answer. Quote, "We find it in all three systems the idea that power through property is the basis of social order, whether the property be held for power by individuals or by the state. We held that a true democracy, recognising men as greater in value than goods, seeing they are God's children, would want to go beyond this basis, and we urged that Australians should see each other in relation to God so that a responsible society might be evolved. The Christian faith doesn't need us to defend it, but to live it, and that is a far more difficult task than to denounce, possibly quite correctly, evil in other people," unquote.